Nintendo!
Hey everyone, my name is Chrono, and welcome to one of the last PTR boss guides for Aberrus. In this video, we'll be going over Magmorax. This is a single target DPS race where you either kill the boss before the enrage, or before the room gets completely filled with lava. Alright, let's get started. Magmorax slowly gains energy, and this serves as the enrage timer, which we expect is roughly 5 minutes. He has a couple of mechanics that spawn lava puddles throughout the fight, and allowing the boss to touch any of them will give him energy. So you need to manage how much space the puddles are taking up, as well as never allowing the boss to touch them to prevent the enrage timer from being cut short. Molten Spittle targets a handful of players with circles, which does ticking damage and leaves behind a magma pool when it blows up. These pools slowly grow over time if you leave them alone. Standing in them will cause them to shrink, as well as give the soakers a stacking dot. If you ever reach 25 stacks, you die instantly. During the first day of heroic testing, this debuff would weaken your ability to shrink circles, forcing the entire raid to take turns if you wanted to manage space efficiently. When this was tested on Mythic, this was changed such that you're always able to shrink these puddles at the same efficiency, independent of your current stat count. So presumably, this is how it'll behave on heroic as well. It's also worth noting that even if you overlap the pools, standing in a stacked pile will still give you multiple stacks at a time. Igniting Roar does raid damage, but more importantly, it spawns lava pools in random locations near the boss. You have control over where to place the pools caused by a spittle, but you simply have to deal with the RNG from the roar and prioritize soaking the ones towards the middle of the room. Blazing Breath causes the boss to face a random player and do a frontal for a high amount of damage. Be sure to be close enough to sidestep this, as it could be instant death if you just took a lot of damage from soaking or dropping a puddle. Overpowering Stomp is a massive knockback on the entire raid. If you've been soaking a lot prior to this, make sure you have a backup plan as to not get knocked out of position. The tank mechanic is Incinerating Maws that does high upfront physical damage and leaves a stacking fire dot. The idea for Magmorax is very simple. Keep the boss away from puddles, help soak, do lots of damage, don't get ass blasted by the breath, and don't get knocked to Egypt if you can help it. For those who don't have a reliable method of countering the stomp, it is possible to be mid-Warlock Gateway to prevent the knock altogether. On Mythic, you can no longer fully soak the circles. There comes a point where you'll likely have to just concede certain segments of the room and let them expand in their area. Also, you now die instantly at 20 stacks of Searing Heat, down from 25. One of the 3 players picked for Spittle are now the target of a raid soak instead. This still drops a puddle, but the raid is forced to split the damage and take stacks on the way out. The very first stomp of the fight has a nasty overlap with one of these exploding, where immediately after soaking, you have no time to recover and get knocked back. These changes put a big hamper in your raid's ability to keep the lava at bay, so it's actually a lot harder to prevent the room from getting filled before the boss even hits the enrage timer. This is going to be a fight where the raid gets pixel stacked onto the only safe spot left on the platform and make their final stand, where either the boss dies or you do. I hope you guys enjoyed this guide on Magmorax, and look forward to the last video on the Echo of Neltharion before the release of the patch. Until then, have a good one.